Hello and welcome back to the Transform You podcast. I'm Nelia.
And I'm Paula, and today we are going to be going over part 2 of breaking down to break through. So we thought we'd do this in parts because it was a wee bit deep, the last one, and there was a lot to go over. So the first one was more just setting the scene and giving wee tips, but this part 2 episode will be mostly the steps that you need and the things that have worked for us.
Yeah.
So where should we begin? I suppose where we begin today is, where do you start if you have hit rock bottom, you're going through breakdown after breakdown? Where did you start, Nelia?
So I started by finding people that had been through similar situations to me.
Right.
So I just started searching the internet and searching social media to find people that have autoimmune disorders similar to mine, that had been in toxic relationships similar to mine, that had been in the closet like me. And because
Fully out now, by the way.
But I realized, like, I am not alone. There are people that have been through similar things to me and have gotten through it and are thriving.
Yep.
And all you have to do is just look for them. And they're out there and they're posting and they're sharing their stories.
Yep.
And I just looked, I was scrolling and I was just searching for their stories, and that's what just got me out of this funk. And
Gets
then
out of victim mentality,
Exactly.
which we mentioned in the last episode.
Exactly. And it just sort of got me out of that funk, which then kickstarted my healing journey.
Lovely. And I think that's, again, such a nice thing. That's a good way to start, because knowing that other people have done it is evidence that it can happen for you.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
the internet is full of stuff like that. Instagram, TikTok, and it's so good that people are being very vulnerable and sharing. I know some people even share as they're going through it, which is quite nice. And if you watch people with journeys like that, it's a good place to start. I would say for me, I started with books and podcasts, and maybe similar, like, instead of actually finding me individual stories, I would maybe look at inspirational people. So I'd be sitting on like the YouTube motivational videos or TED Talks, all that kind of stuff. And people just kind of sharing wise words. And I think that's why I became very obsessed with self-help books and anything self-development.
Yeah. I know. I love the books, but that came later, a wee bit later for me.
I maybe once you'd found your people,
Yeah.
you were like, right, what are they up to? And maybe found out that they were reading the books.
I think I wasn't quite ready for the books.
You're like, it's still a lot of shite.
Yeah. That's where I was at. And I needed to be in the right headspace to be open enough.
I think what we're both saying is similar though. So it's still about changing the focus inwards and bringing the
100%.
focus onto you. So I would say that is definitely step one. The most important thing, and actually step one ties into everything. You really, 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 really need to focus on yourself.
100%.
Never mind what anybody else is doing. And actually you need to become selfish. And I don't mean selfish in the way like holding all the biscuits for yourself and no sharing them out, right? I don't mean it like that. I mean selfish in the way of the energy that you're giving out, selfish in the time that you're giving. Give yourself more time than you're giving to other people. If your energy isn't feeling aligned with people, if you're feeling drained, keep that energy for yourself.
And you know what? I think a lot of people who are in that breakdown stage and are feeling low, are at rock bottom, we are those people that are giving away loads of energy.
Yeah.
It is the people that are selfless.
Yeah.
And are looking after everyone else but themselves.
Yep.
And you get to that point and you realise, we've both been at that point where we've gone, hold on, I need to start looking after myself.
I have nothing left to give. It's like the whole, once your cup is empty or your battery is drained, you genuinely will hit rock bottom or you'll hit a breakdown stage. And there's like a lovely wee picture, and it's like of, you know, a battery kind of starting to die, And it's when it gets to just a wee bit below halfway is when you're like, that's when you should start to recharge. Like, you shouldn't let it get any lower than that. And unfortunately, we're all guilty of that.
Yeah.
So starting to kind of realise, but if you're focusing yourself, you do realise, which is why now I think we are both pretty good at, we're more self-aware. So I know when I'm starting to feel like that, and I just take myself away and I do all the things that I need to do to reset, and you'll be the same.
Yeah.
And we know that about each other now,
Yeah.
which is really nice. And then I think when you start doing things like this, you start to create new habits for yourself as well. So creating new habits, again, for me would have been reading the books, making sure that every day I was going for my walk because that's where I'd listen to my podcasts, making sure every day I was getting up a wee half hour earlier because that's when I'd do my journaling, making sure that I had my bag packed because I was going to the gym straight after work. All those things that I knew were making me feel so good. I would have my gym bag, I'd be going to the gym straight after work, becoming this person who I decided that I wanted to become through that whole choosing your new identity. Because I think when you've hit rock bottom, you're kind of at that point where everything that you once knew is gone. And it's kind of like the whole restart, refresh, and deciding then, right, what is going to be new for me? And a lovely way to do that. So if you're out your walk, get your notes out. If you're sitting in the house, get your wee journaling notepad out, because throughout this there's going to be journal prompts, there's going to be mindfulness tips that you can note down and start using from today. So,
by the way, if you have an iPhone, there's a journal app on your iPhone.
Yes, and
it's
actually
so good.
it sends you notifications all the time.
Yeah.
There you go.
You can take photos and stuff, and like on your walk you can, it's cool. So you can take like a wee screenshot of the podcast and be like,
Screenshot of us, how cute would that be? Top tips from Nelia.
Love it.
So here we go. Let's first go over a journaling exercise that you can do that is going to shift your identity. You can literally become whoever the hell you want to become. If you look at someone else and say, I'd love to be like that, do it. Because you can become that person, especially if you're at the point where you're needing a full reset. Absolutely go for it. What you need to do is get 2 columns. So on one side, it's going to be who I currently am / my past self. And in the second column, writing down who I am becoming, the identity that I want.
Yep.
So you really need to be honest with yourself here as well. Examples, I'm quite happy to share mine. So I'm my past self would have been an angry wee bird.
An angry wee bird.
Genuinely, I was raging all the time, right? So I didn't want that anymore. I was like, I do not want to be this angry person.
You've got to be honest.
So I was like angry, bitter, holding on to a lot of resentment, which obviously some of it you're like, fair enough, but don't hold on to it because it only affects you. So I wanted rid of all of this stuff that I had, even things like being a quitter. So I'd gave myself that label of I just quit everything. All of that stuff I had to just put down and get real with myself. So anything horrible that I was saying about myself as well, like my past identity, I would have said I was ugly. I would have said I was worthless. Like I would have said I would never achieve anything. Get all that stuff down there. And then on the next column, you need to write the sort of person you want to become. So if it is successful, whatever that means to you, if it's the sort of person who is kind to others, who gives a lot of love, you could even write down something like, I want to be someone who people come to for advice. Like really anything that you see someone else and you think, oh, I'd love to be like that. Get it down in the column. And then that is the start of you becoming that person. Really, really powerful stuff.
You're basically like scripting it out, essentially.
That's it. That's the start of manifesting as well, because with manifestation, you're writing down a script, and that is the beginning of who I'm going to become. Very nice, isn't it? Have you ever done anything like that?
So I would do stuff. I mean, I do stuff like scripting out and manifesting and doing all that. But back when I was in my low points, I just had to get out. I had to get out of this like slump that I was in. And in order for me, it sounds dead cheesy, but I would
You're always cheesy. Just
I'm
give us
always
it.
cheesy.
He's the cheese.
I had to just get out of this like slump that I was in, and I would go on YouTube and get like motivational speeches. Yeah.
Love it. By the way, YouTube, TED Talks, whatever you need a motivational speech for, it's on
And
YouTube.
it's like there's some crackers on there.
Here, there's also those wee ones, and it's just random clips from like, so for me,
Oh,
I like
aye.
The Inspirational Woman,
Oh, aye.
Oprah Winfrey, all
Oh,
of
aye.
them, right? So all their wise words, yes.
Yep, I
And
had
you just
them.
sit.
And I'd get out on a walk and they'd be on.
Oh,
and
aye.
if it was, when it was like winter and stuff, like if it was too icy or whatever, I have a wee treadmill at home, and I'd get on a treadmill and I would just have them. And I just needed, it would be like movement and
Mindfulness.
mindfulness. And I needed that just to like, and I just felt like, have you ever seen Rocky?
Oh, aye.
And I felt
Yes.
like Rocky.
Oh, aye. Stunning.
Where was I?
On your treadmill.
Aye. So I just felt like Rocky, and it gave me like a new mindset.
So good.
And it just got me out of this
It's like such inspo.
like shit place where I was like, yes,
See that
I
feeling
can
of,
do this.
I feel like Rocky though, that's your strength starting to be created. And this leads us on very nicely to part 2 of what you need to do. This part is actually stuff that changes you, right? So this is your thoughts becoming your actions, and then your actions becoming your behaviours, and your behaviours becoming your reality. And that's what you're just saying there. So you started to get up, do a bit of movement, do a bit of mindfulness, and then you start to be like, oh, all these wee habits are actually starting to affect my everyday life. And yeah, so you find your strength there. And when you find your strength, or start to build in it anyway, it doesn't just happen overnight, you then slowly start to build in your confidence. And to building your confidence as well also builds on your self-worth, your self-love, all of that stuff. So it does start to become just this lovely snowball effect of, and you don't notice it at the time.
No.
It's, for example, something will happen and you'll be like, I handled that really well there.
Yeah.
And you start to notice like, oh, that new identity that I wrote about a
And
couple
it can
months
be
ago.
like months later,
Oh, aye.
but you're just like, wait,
Oh, it's working.
I just did that. Hold on.
And what a feeling. And every time you get those wee feelings, just also cements the fact that you have changed and you have like got all this strength within you, and you are whoever the hell you say you are. And oh, what a feeling. And I suppose then we should go into the steps of how you actually get there, because it's all right saying all this stuff, but how do you get there? I would say you get there through practicing mindfulness, practicing meditation, journaling, all the stuff that we've spoken about before. And the thing with all that stuff is, so particularly mindfulness practice, this is something I remember hearing about years ago and just thinking it was people who would be walking about just hugging trees and things like that. Which, by the way, I know there's science behind hugging trees, and if you've never done it before, then give it a bash. Really, mindfulness is being present. So that really can change your thoughts, because you're not stuck in the past. You're not worrying about the future. And there's that wee wise word, actually. You can ruin your future by being stuck in the past. And there's nothing truer than that. So you can ruin the present moment by worrying about the past. You can ruin your future by worrying about the past. You can ruin the present by fuck what's happening in the future. So if you're anywhere apart from the present, you are going to be feeling negative emotions, because you're either going to be full of dread for what's to come, or you're going to be feeling full of regret or full of guilt or whatever else about what happened in the past. And mindfulness really helps from that. Like, so when I'm practicing mindfulness, for me, that would be actually sitting down with my wee cup of tea in the morning and doing nothing else but sitting there, really like experiencing the sensations that you get from the heat of the cup
No,
and the
that's it.
taste. And it sounds honestly so, well, I know we've discussed riddies don't exist, but you're like, oh, what a
I know.
riddy. But
I
it's
know.
no, it's like, it's so good, isn't
I
it?
actually did. So with chronic pain, I did a chronic pain hospital course when
Right.
it was like part of my like treatment plan.
Uh-huh.
And it was like just this group of women that I'm still in contact with now.
Mm-hmm.
Bloody love them. Shout out.
Women supporting women again.
And a lot of that course was mindfulness.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember us sitting down and us just having a chat, being like, we're not into this like woo-woo mindfulness where we all just sort of sit and chat about our feelings and and it's all this chimes music and all this. You can, and one of the women, Deborah, an incredible woman, she was like, you can mindfully make a cup of tea.
Mm-hmm.
That is mindfulness.
Yeah.
You can mindfully have a shower. It's about
A mindful
just-
shower is, by the way, it's like
Uh-huh.
you're standing there and you're so aware of the feeling.
Yeah.
You're actually like taking time to think about cleaning yourself.
Yeah.
Instead of just quick in, out, run out the door. It's
Yeah.
like sitting there and you smell the nice shower gels that you bought
Yeah.
yourself, which then ties into self-care.
Yeah.
And it's lovely.
And it's feeling every sensation and smelling everything, tasting everything. Do you know what it's
Yep.
being so in tune with your body
Yeah.
and your mind and the sensations? That is mindfulness, and it's being so present within yourself. And that's what mindfulness is to me.
And that ties in nicely with meditation, because when you meditate, you're also doing all that. So you're tuning into the breath, you're tuning into all the sensations that you're getting,
Yeah.
you're tuning into your own thoughts. And mindfulness, like you've just said, is the only thing that's going to bring you to the present moment.
Yep.
Because when you're mindful, you are so physically, mentally aware of everything that's going on round about you. So a mindful walk, lassies, we all have a podcast on our Hot Gal Walks.
Yeah,
Make
we love
them
it.
mindful walks. So I know we've got a podcast and everything in, but something that I really like to do is, obviously I'm listening to my podcast, but I always take a moment to get them out for maybe like 5-10 minutes, and I just try and listen to my favourite thing in the world, listening to the birds. Oh, stunning. And I'll just walk and I'll just try and listen and see all the things that you don't notice in everyday life until you become mindful. You then start to notice like the colours in the leaves and the trees. You start to notice like all the wee ducks in the water. You start to notice the flowers. You start to notice other people. Like
You
it's
notice different sounds.
oh my God. Listen, I know we said we're not getting hippy dippy, but this stuff, all for it. Mindfulness practices.
But bringing that back to our breakthroughs, in order to break through, you need to be so present within yourself.
Yes.
I think when you're in that low breaking point, all you can think about is everything else that is going on in your life. You
Yeah.
can think about what's happened in the past, and you can think about, oh, what might happen.
Yeah.
And what you need to be thinking about is what's happening right now and how can I make my life better right now? What can I do right now to
Yeah.
make me feel better now
Right
in the
now.
present? Instead of, oh, what if, how can I, do you know what I mean?
So if you are in a place where you can be so focused on the past or so focused on the future, then really when you think about it, in the present you are very safe. So you are safe in the moment if you can be elsewhere.
Yeah.
Because think about this, if you have a dog chasing you and it's ready to rip your head off, you are going to be in the present moment at that time, and you can't think about anything else. Shit, I need to get away because this dog's about to rip me to fucking shreds. So really that's a way to think about it. If you can sit and you're too busy ruminating the past or worrying about the future, really you're safe in the present.
Yeah.
And I had to remind myself of that a few times, like, well, if I can actually sit here just now worrying about all this stuff, then really I'm all right
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah.
a nice place to maybe
I
start.
like that.
Uh-huh.
That's a good way of thinking about
Yeah.
it.
Mm-hmm. Cute. Is that maybe
What's
a wee
that
wise
I
word?
was about to say. She's wise today.
Wise old woman. That's me thinking about my wee mindful walks.
A wise old one.
Can I just say, see the mood change as well for going on a wee mindful walk?
Yeah.
Lassies, if you are sitting there just now and maybe you're like, oh shit, this is me. Like I spend way too much time, and maybe right now you're like stressing about something. If you're not already out a walk, pause this, whatever, come back to it. Get yourself out
Get
there.
out.
Especially, obviously today it might not be like this every other day, but lovely sunny day. Get yourself out there, and even for 10 minutes, you'll notice a shift in your mood. Anytime I find myself in a place of ruminating thoughts and, you know, that cluttered, crazy headspace where it's just
And when you feel
get
a bit
myself
spinnered.
out. Change your environment. If you're sitting in the bedroom and you know this is when these thoughts come up, even take your, if it's like say 2 a.m, take yourself into the living room, make yourself a wee cup of tea.
Yeah.
Change your environment, because if you're sitting in the same space, you're stuck. It's like that boxed in thing.
Yeah.
You are literally boxed in your own mind and you're boxed in the one room. Get up
You
and
literally
move.
said that to me the other day when I was trying to upload the podcast.
Get up
And I
and
was
move.
literally sat there waiting, and I was like, it's not uploading, Paula.
It's like you're sitting
And
in
I
a
was
prison.
texting her like, oh, just getting so scunnered with it. And you were like, get up and go make yourself a cup of tea.
Go to another room, hen.
Just go to the kitchen and make yourself a cup of tea. And I was like, aye, okay, fine, Ma.
And then did the
And
universe
then-
not reward you?
Aye. I went up, made a cup of tea, and 2 minutes later I uploaded. And I was like, right.
You then you're like, first world problems.
Thanks, Mom. You were right. But on a serious note, Paula, I would say if there were times when I couldn't get out on a walk because
Yeah.
of my health. So
If you're physically
yeah,
unable,
physically
yeah.
unable. But what I did do was I would get out into the garden, or I would just go out, sit on a bench,
By
just
the, remember what my
get
granda
outside.
said? Get that fresh air into your lungs.
fill your lungs, just get outside
Yep.
and change your space. So you were saying earlier, just if you're sat in your bedroom, move to the living room.
Aye. Go
Like-
for a shower.
Just
Get
change
yourself out of
your
it.
environment, because you can just sit and stew in that one space, and your mind goes fucking mental.
See, what you're, it's like, see that, if you actually think about what you've just said there, right? So sitting and stewing, right? Think about you just sitting in a big, warm, dirty pot of shit
Yeah,
filled, and you're just sitting
bubbling
there.
away.
But I
Just
becoming like
ugh.
softer by the moment, just melting away. Like, so
Aye.
get
Like a
yourself
wee
out that
witch's
stew
brew.
pot. Aye. Allow yourself
Like
to
a
be free in
poison.
nature.
Yeah,
Think about that. It's just
Yeah.
horrible.
you need to just get out.
That's what happens though.
Yeah, you need to get out, freshen up.
Like we discussed in the past episode, try and get into meditation, try and get into journaling. And again, if you've got your journal here just now, a nice way that you could do that is if you are stuck and your thoughts are going wild with whatever it is that's happened to you, we've all got our own experiences, and all those thoughts that are cluttering your mind, literally get them down onto paper right now and just clear your head. Because once you do that, you can then look whatever that thought is and you can rationalise that. So for example, I'm quite happy to share things that maybe I've wrote in a brain dump before, would be, I am feeling so worthless. There's no point in being here. I just feel like the whole world's against me. Like stuff like that.
Everyone hates me.
Everyone hates me. I'm so ugly. I'm so fat. My body's
I've wrote
terrible.
Stuff like I'm unlovable. Yeah.
Right? Horrible place to be.
Mm-hmm.
You can write that out and actually see, reading that back, it's very uncomfortable. And that
Yeah.
feeling of uncomfort then can make you go, oh. And if that is making you feel like that, try and just always think, would I ever speak to any other human being like that? Your answer is hopefully always going to be absolutely not. You would never speak to anyone the way you speak to yourself. And when I realised that, I just started to be like, well, why would I speak to myself like that? Like I would never call anyone the names I was calling myself in my head.
know.
I would never pick anyone apart the way that I used to pick myself apart. I used to, honestly, I was so privileged at one point in my life to be able to live in Australia, and I know that some people will never have that reality. I went there, and if you've been to any of my events before, this is a story that I tell quite a lot because it's something that I regret. And I know you shouldn't have any regrets because obviously I was in a different place there, but I actually went there and not once did I ever go in the water when I was there. Not once did I ever go in a bikini in the beach, which is fucking mental. Like, I'm privileged enough to have a flat on Bondi Beach. Again, that's a once in a lifetime opportunity. Some people will never have that experience. And my thoughts, it wasn't me, sorry, it was my thoughts stopped me from embracing that experience.
Yeah.
My thoughts stopped me from being able to feel comfortable enough to enjoy myself on the beach. And what a horrible place to be.
I know, it's really sad.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
And see if I knew that anybody else was like that, I would be like, what the hell? Like, why would you speak to yourself like that? Why would you allow that? But I allowed that to happen to myself. And I think when I was journaling and this kept coming up, that was maybe the thing that stuck with me of, I really need to speak to myself better. I really need to sort my fucking shit out because that's an absolute joke that I've allowed that to happen. And I think I can be quite tough love instead of being soft. And I had to kind of learn to be a wee bit softer to myself. To myself, It is easy just to be like, I've let this happen to myself. Oh my God, I can't believe that. But I had to learn to be a wee bit softer and remember that the person back then was obviously in a completely different headspace. The person back then was obviously someone who had never even thought that you could say nice things to yourself. And we're not taught this stuff.
I'm a bit like that as well.
Aye.
Like, I was a bit kind of, oh, it's all my fault. I let this happen. Yeah.
Blame. And obviously we always look for something or someone to blame, but you don't need to blame anyone. It's like, why do we need to always blame something or somebody?
Just, it's happened.
And that's it. Just
move on.
Yeah. And that, because it seems when we're telling people all this stuff, it seems simple, but it can bring up so many different things. If you are someone whose thoughts are holding yourself back, so those thoughts are going crazy and those thoughts are negative and those thoughts are very self-destructive, the best way for you to learn to challenge those thoughts, to change those thoughts, again, I'm shouting it from the fucking rooftops at this point, is meditation and journaling. Meditation and journaling.
Wait for the guy at the end. Yeah.
And honestly, until you really give it a go, you are just going to listen to this because I done it for years. You done it for years.
Yep.
I listened and I was like, I no bother. One day, perhaps. And then that day did come and it did really change my life. So how do we do that? Journaling is something that you can do. Obviously, the brain dumping. Other things that really helped me, I will give you my exact journaling, what will we call it? My exact journaling handbook.
Yeah.
Okay. Listen up.
Journaling 101.
Journaling 101 with You by Paula.
Oh, aye.
Okay. Here's what I done every day of my life, morning and night. I would wake up in the morning. I had one page. That page would be I am. Okay. So it could be I am beautiful inside and out. I am a magnet for success. I am becoming the best version of myself. I am. All these lovely things. Say it first if you don't believe it. Write it down. And it's uncomfortable and it's cringy and it will make you squirm. But you need to get over it, right? So I am. Fake it till you make it. Start to believe it and start to really be that person, right? So a full page, which is fucking hard at the start. Mm-hmm. On another page, you're going to start to write what it is you're manifesting, but acting as if it's already happened. So scripting, but being already there. So I would write, I am so grateful that I have become someone who loves her body, and I am so grateful that I've found all these amazing people in my life, and I am so grateful that I finally have a flat to myself and all the money to support me to be there. I didn't. At this point, I was, as was discussed, living in my mum and dad's back in my childhood bedroom, but I scripted it. Yep. I believed that it was going to happen. And then third page was my gratitude journaling. So on that third page, every single day, different things that I was grateful for. And that was the one that would maybe take the longest because you couldn't repeat anything. Although there could be similarities. So an example could be, I'm really grateful for my morning cup of tea. And if I've already wrote that, and I'm genuinely grateful for that every single day, like we just discussed, we do the mindfulness cups of tea in the morning. But maybe the next day I could be like, I'm so grateful that I have hot water to provide me that cup of tea. The next day might be, I'm so grateful that someone gave me this gift of this lovely mug to have my cup of tea.
Yeah.
Right? There's so much out there that you can find gratitude in. So that was me, mate. I felt I've not done that as much as a ritual as what I would usually do. I would say about a year, that's what I've done. Every day, morning and night. And it changed my life, changed my thoughts, changed my reality. As we know, manifestation, it does work, my friends, as long as you are putting in the work and doing it right.
Oh, I love it. I have a friend of mine who we had like a goal setting call the other week. Yeah,
It was last week.
Yeah, just for Hogmanay. And she has ADHD.
Mm-hmm.
So she finds journaling quite difficult because just lack of focus is quite difficult to journal. So we made the plan of when she has a journal prompt, she just does 3 bullet points.
Right.
And when it's a gratitude prompt, 3.
Yep. That's less overwhelming.
Yeah. Just to get her going and get her started. Because a lot of the time, I think she's bought these previously. She's bought like these gratitude journals and things where it's like
they've already got like the prompts and stuff written in them.
It's just been very overwhelming.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was the if you're really, really struggling with starting,
start small. Yeah.
And if you might also have ADHD or something similar, just start small if that's overwhelming you.
Or what you mentioned earlier, do it on your phone.
Yeah.
Use wee pictures.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like there's ways to do it that will suit you. You know, just you have to find your groove.
Yeah. There's never a one size fits all for everyone. And I think that's good about your own journey. We can give you all this and you might think the stuff from this is fantastic. And at other points you're like, maybe no.
Yeah.
And from journaling, again, we've spoke about this before, meditation. You can start with 2-minute, 3-minute ones. There are so many different types out there. Again, we've already mentioned this, but you can use meditation based on whatever it is that you're going through. So you might have used it for your chronic health conditions. Maybe I've used it for heartbreak or feeling like I had no confidence. Maybe meditations for deciding what I want to do in my life or not beating yourself up. There's meditations out there for everything.
Yeah.
If you are looking to manifest or if you're looking to really get into your whole mindfulness and your own wee spiritual journey, there's meditations out there that really focus on the visualization aspect, which can help if you are creating this new identity, which can help if you're trying to get rid of negative thoughts, because what that does is put new wee thoughts in there, it puts new visions in that you can see happening, which can boost your mood. It's just like a big circle of love. It all just comes round and it all ties in.
Yeah.
So again, meditation, life changing, all this stuff. I'm like, it'll change your life. Please
Just
trust
do
me.
it.
And of course, yoga.
Oh, aye.
We need to talk about yoga. Actually, movement in general is always going to help you.
Yeah.
It'll boost your mood. There's so much science out there. You don't even need to go and read that. You can just feel it. Especially if you are feeling really negative, really low, get some form of movement into your life. That could be a walk. It could be something you do at home. It could be, of course, yoga. Let us talk about this spiritual journey.
Why?
So if you're already ready to run away because we're talking about spirituality.
Stick with us.
Stick with
Not
it,
yet.
right? You can call it whatever you want. You might call it your journey of finding hope, because that's really all spirituality is, right?
Cultivating hope.
Cultivating hope and just looking for any wee signs as, okay,
Yeah.
it means everything's going to be all right. It's putting your faith in something apart from all we can see here that's physical.
Yeah.
And a good way to think about this is, I know in other cultures this is still a big thing, but I feel like in our culture it's dying out a wee bit, like the whole religious thing. And I'm not religious, and neither are you.
No.
I was brought up a good Catholic lassie. I'm not Catholic, by the way, but the point that I'm trying to make here is that from that spiritual side, all religion is just like a bit of hope for people, right? So if you think about your granny and grandads or their granny and grandads, anytime something was going wrong, somebody's in the hospital dying, they would all pray.
Yeah.
Or if you are wanting a miracle in your life, you would pray.
Mm-hmm.
If you are wanting a wee bit of hope or something, that's what you would do. You would get a wee candle on and you would say a wee prayer.
Yeah.
And I think that's what a lot of people have lost now.
Mm-hmm.
So if you are struggling and you don't really know where to turn for hope or whatever, it can be difficult.
Yeah.
And I think our wee spiritual journeys really, really helped us.
Yeah.
Helped us heal, helped us change who we were, helped us manifest. If you're looking to manifest, gals, you really need to get in deep.
Yeah, you've got to look inward.
Look within.
Which is hard, but trust me, it works.
The spiritual side is things like learning to trust your gut and listen to that wee voice within you. You know that feeling in your belly that is screaming at you? That is your wee inner bit of wisdom. And you need to learn to trust her.
You have to listen.
Or them, whatever you call it.
Yeah.
But learn to trust it, because these are all the wee signs you are getting for the universe. And it's things like looking for signs and stuff. When I started manifesting, something I would always do would be ask for a sign. For example, I wanted a new car and I kept looking for signs. And one of the signs that I remember asking for was like a pink flamingo, very specific. And then I would go into work and somebody had bought me a diary and it was covered in pink flamingos.
Huh?
And me and my pals would do this every day. Right, what's the sign of the day? And we would like put in things and it would be very specific.
Yeah.
And then we'd message each other like, lassies, there's the sign. So for us, that was all like that wee bit of hope, because you're like, okay. And then you're feeling really good because you're getting all these lovely wee signs. And honestly, just boost your mood. So see, even if you think it is all shite and woo-woo, it's going to boost your mood and it's going to give you that wee bit of hope, and it's going to give you that wee thing of everything is going to be okay.
Yeah, I love that.
Do you ever do anything like that, like ask for signs? Or, by the way, we are fucking mad with these angel numbers now.
Guys,
111
111
is 111
is 111.
Oh.
The angel numbers are angel numbering.
They're screaming at us right now.
Everywhere.
If you know, you
Wait,
know. Oh,
what time did you wake up this morning?
right.
Randomly
I'm
in the
sorry.
middle of the night.
Please listen to this. So, I'm actually collecting screenshots because one day we're going to show you
So
this.
am I.
So please fucking listen.
Yeah, it's actually insane at the minute. Like 111 is meaning something to us. We're gonna figure it out at some point.
It'll all make sense
Yeah.
soon. And if you're listening to this and you think you know why it's making sense, going to please let us know.
Yeah, please.
Like,
If you know more
I'm
than
just
us.
a girl.
What's happening?
So I woke up this morning after, right, so we've got these screenshots, we've been collecting the evidence of the 111s.
Like our voice notes keep just randomly ending at
111?
Yeah. Or just like, and then sometimes we'll just go and check our stories or something.
Always
And it's
111.
Yeah.
So this morning
mental.
or during the night, I just randomly, you know when you just wake up, go like that to my phone, and I went 0111, and I went, you know, you're a bit delirious when you're still, and I was like,
am I dreaming?
fuck, surely no. And I was lying there and I was like, oh shit, I should have screenshot that and sent it to Nelia. It was too late anyway, but that shook me to the core. And I was like to you this morning, the first thing I was like, mate, I woke up at 111. Couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
But then you start to go, am I dreaming?
Yeah.
So by the way, when you start your spiritual journey, you are going to convince yourself it's all a coincidence.
Oh, yeah.
You will be like,
That's not
nah. And other people will tell you it's a coincidence.
Yeah.
Or people will tell you like, that's a lot of shite. Until
all
actually you look back at a vision board or you look back at an old journal and everything that you've wrote has manifested.
By the way, my 2024, my last vision board for 2024, I didn't even realise that it had a podcast on it.
Oh, aye.
Like it was a picture with some girls on it and it was actually quite cute. And I was like, oh.
And they were
put it on there.
podcasting.
And it was 2 girls podcasting like this.
And then when you
By
said
the way,
it to
on a
me,
sofa.
really?
I'm pretty sure they're on
Very
a sofa.
specific. We need to get that out. We need to show
Or
you
like,
because
they
you
were
need to believe
it was
this.
cozy vibes, maybe on armchairs or something. But like that is a sign. I didn't even put that on for. Oh, I want to at that point. I did want to podcast, but
You were too
when
scared
I
to
was
put it out there.
vision boarding, I wasn't thinking podcast.
Yes.
I was like, oh, such a cute pic.
Whereas
And
I
put it on.
did.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like I told you that because Nelia had said to me, we should start a podcast. And I was like, mate, it's been on my vision board. It's been there. I've spoke about it and I've just not done it. And then we went, fuck it, we need to take the action.
we're
And
doing
here
it.
we are.
And here we are.
So please believe that your spiritual journey, like make it your own as well. Again, we'll always say that, make everything your own. Do not listen to people who have never experienced it telling you it's a lot of shite, because we have experienced it and we're telling you it's not a lot of shite.
Aye.
It definitely works. And start to look out for the signs, even start to tune into that wee feeling in the pit of your stomach that we spoke about. Like, a good thing to really think about, and we all know about this, is karma.
Yes.
Start to really tune into like
yes.
karmic energy. So notice the more you give, the better you feel, and the more that you get back. So don't actually do it because you're like, if I give, I'm going to get back. Your intention should be, I'm going to give because it makes me feel good. And you'll just start to notice all this stuff.
I'm the
happening.
biggest believer for this.
Oh, aye. And you are a generous soul.
Oh,
You are.
thank you.
You're like so kind. You're always like
She's gonna make me
giving
cry.
me gifts. And if anybody knows Nelia, you'll know this. Like, she's just a wee angel sent from heaven.
I love you.
Blessing is on this sofa.
I just like, it makes me feel good.
Yeah.
I love just making my pals happy.
And look how much good has been brought to your life through that though as well, because you're getting some good
I
karma.
also just love making other, like, strangers happy. I think it just,
Oh, aye. It's lovely.
even if you can't give things,
Yeah.
give compliments, give.
This is it.
I think if you have something nice to say, fucking say it.
Oh, by the way, see that, right? So
Don't
when William
keep it in.
started going out with me, he was shook to the core because I just compliment people everywhere. So I
Yeah.
remember us
Me
sitting
and
in a
Paula do
restaurant
all the time.
all the time. But
And
again,
Megan
it's
is
free.
the three of us. When we,
Why would you
we
not?
do.
If you think something nice in your head, say it out loud.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we all want to say all the negative shit all the time. Why are we not taught that if I look at you and I go, you look stunning, I'll say it out loud?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because why would I hold that thought in my head? So we were in a restaurant and this girl looked so pretty. Like, she just looked lovely. And she had the cutest wee tattoo in her hand, right? And she was serving us and I was like, you look so pretty today. I was like, I didn't even know you. I was like, and maybe you look like this every day. I was like, but you really do. And I was like, see that wee tattoo? That is so nice. And I was like,
Love
and
it.
it actually just pure suits you. And she was like, pure.
Just, it made her day.
And
Made her
William's
week,
sitting there
probably.
like, oh,
Just so embarrassed.
because he'd never experienced
Yeah.
it. But obviously now he's used to it.
Fucking better be.
And I feel like maybe it's rubbed off on him a wee bit.
Yeah.
But I would honestly, like, with anybody, if you have something nice to say, bloody say it. Because
Aye.
see if that person's having a shit time, that could really, really change their life.
Do you know what makes me laugh is I have a couple of pals in London and when I go down to see them, I act this exact same when I'm in London and I'm
And they're
just
like,
oh,
judgy.
you look so nice. And people are like,
What?
why are you why are you talking to me? Like talking to a stranger.
But then were you not like that before? Like, I would
Yeah.
never have taken a compliment. If someone gave me one, I'd be like, oh no, I don't look nice, you look nice, or things like I could never take a compliment.
But I see in London, they're just like, they hate anyone talking to you. And my pals are like, you cannot talk to you don't talk to strangers. Like, don't talk to anyone.
Why?
Like, why? And I'm like, because it's nice. It's a nice thing to do. That's probably made their day. And they're like, you don't talk. No, shut up. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to change.
Don't need your bad energy.
I'm not going to change. I think you guys would be a lot happier if everyone just talked to each other.
You do you and I'll do me. All right.
Like, there's a reason I don't live in London. There's that.
Do you know what's good for that though? I love Glasgow. Fucking love it. I just think the people are just class. So and good. I feel like we get it. Mm-hmm. And that's why you're going to be a good Glasgow lassie soon.
It's happening soon, girls.
But again, that's aligning for you. Like you've always, and it's actually happening in the exact area that you're always in. Like it's fucking mental.
Manifested.
The manifestations are manifesting.
Manifested that, by the way.
Oh, you did. Totally. Like, this is how the universe works. So it brought us together to now get you to this point. Yeah. And we'll do a full story on manifesting, right? Because we could obviously talk about this all day.
I know.
But talking about the whole, what you were just saying there about London and people obviously being like, oh, you don't do that. When the sort of reaction I would get when I would be, dishing out that stuff like this and saying that I'd done stuff and gave people just love and kindness. So any resentment that I was holding on to, I basically looked into it, I need to get rid of this because I was holding a lot of resentment and a lot of like anger and also a lot of guilt that I didn't really need to have. It's because I was fucking gaslit. You then hold on to this guilt, right? So I didn't actually need
both, girl. Yeah.
Cheers to being gaslit.
And cheers to letting go of that shit.
Honestly, do not hold on. Again, we've said this before. When you hold on to resentment, it is like toxic within you. Yeah. And the only person that's going to get hurt...
It's poison.
It is actual
poison.
And it's if you start visualising that, by the way, it's poison within you.
Yeah.
Powerful. Like there's a really good meditation and it's like you're inhaling all this cleansing air and when you exhale it's like black smoke and actually releasing all that shit.
I actually kind of did a similar meditation to that today.
Did you? About just letting go?
About letting go. But I didn't do black smoke, but I did it as like exhaling
like all the stress. Very good. And that's also what I was going to say about that is I would start doing loving kindness meditation. If you've never done this before, have a wee look into it. There's loads of loving kindness meditations out there for free. And it would just be, see whatever it is you're holding on to, are those people who you're feeling angry about or those situations that you're maybe feeling bitter about. Really think about it and then just sit there and give it love, kindness, forgiveness, and you feel so light after it. I remember like feeling like I was fucking floating in a cloud. You know, like those wee memes that you see. I actually felt like I'm like, oh,
100%. Because I would say there's going to be people listening to this that are going through it and will be holding a lot of resentment
and anger,
bitterness,
and rightfully so. What I'll say is, you need to feel all of that. Like feel angry because you fucking should, and feel sad because you should, and literally like get angry and get it out because people are fucking arseholes sometimes, right? We're good lassies. We're talking about love and kindness, but that's it. Just don't hold on to it for too long.
But then you do have to get to that point where you're like, do you know what?
What's the point? My energy, I just can't give any more.
They're not worth it. It's not worth it. It's not worth me wasting my life, my energy, my time. Because my life and my time and my energy is valuable. And it's valuable to me. It's valuable to the people I love. And it's being sapped away by toxic people, poison, and they don't deserve it. And by the way, whoever is sapping it away from you, they're probably fucking living their lives.
They don't care.
And whether it's a person, whether it's like you've got an illness or it's a situation or it's something that's happened to you, whatever that is, whether it's something tangible or not, they don't deserve it.
Or it doesn't
deserve it.
Yes.
So fucking let it go. And that might be hard to hear.
Let it go.
That might be really hard to hear, but let it go.
Yeah.
And just start throwing love at it. because
Love
that,
and kindness.
and even if you rebrand it as that's the best revenge.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
And people do. Like, that's it.
The best
Dress it
revenge
up
is
however
just like
you want. The best
you
revenge is moving on.
living
Aye.
your life
Yeah.
to the, just living your life being so bloody happy.
Yeah. And
so happy.
yeah, like you just mentioned, you can tie that into any situation. So just say it's a shitty job that you've left, or a shitty relationship, or something that's been holding you back in life, whether that's physical or mental. Just
Yeah.
try and be like, detach and be like, let it be. It is what it is, and move on.
Yeah. I put up a reel the other week, which was the best revenge is heal.
Yes. By the way, it is.
Because
Say that again.
the best revenge is heal.
Stunning.
Oh yeah, baby.
It
because
is.
like, what can they do?
Yeah.
What can it do?
Mm-hmm.
You've healed.
And I would say, like I mentioned earlier, I am now my softer version of myself.
Yeah.
So now I
Same.
would call it loving kindness. Before, I might have called it something else
Yeah.
when I was more of a tough old nut to crack.
Same.
Mm-hmm.
I think me and Paula are very similar. We both used to be this, like, we used to have this really tough exterior and probably want to fucking square go everyone
Aye.
that came our way.
It would be
whereas
like rage.
yet now we're both in this soft
Girl
feminine,
era.
but we're really strong.
Oh, God.
We're so
aye.
fucking strong.
I still have a lot of
But
that
we can
masculine
still
energy.
be
Yeah.
feminine and soft and
Good
happy.
episode, by the way. Masculine versus feminine energy, because
yes.
throughout this journey, like we're always very
Yes.
clear, it's not linear. There was a point that I became way too much my masculine energy. And even though I was doing all this spiritual stuff, I was that much my masculine that actually overshadowed that.
Yeah.
Do you know that way? Like the scales just tipped.
Yeah.
So I lost that side for a while, like in my own
Yeah.
journey. And I was just like, nobody's getting in here, barriers up, I'll just do everything, like hyper independence, which can serve you, but also I understand now that that was a protective mechanism, and I understand that because I was trying not to be who I was in the past, and I didn't want to let go of this strong person that I'd become, even though she was already in there.
Yeah.
I then had to learn to soften myself and get back into that feminine
learning process.
Yes. So we're always going to try and be as open and honest. Like, although we're like healed girlies, there's ups and there's downs, and
peaks and troughs.
I am currently in a stage where I've really got back into my wee spiritual stuff, and that's only been the last couple of months. And I remember recently getting back into that. I'd kind of been picking up my books and that again. Okay, so I've been reading Asking It Is Given. Have you ever read that?
Yeah.
Very spiritual.
Yeah.
It's maybe start with The Secret and then go into that. And I was talking to my client Chloe, who I fucking love. You know that one of those people who you just feel like you were meant to be best pals. That's how I feel about Chloe, and we
An
just
angel.
vibe. And you met her the other
Yeah.
night. She is very spiritual, and she said all this mad stuff happened to her. Like, you would love her stories.
Yeah.
Chloe,
Oh.
we need to hear your stories in the podcast.
Get her on.
She honestly has the most wild stories, and we sat one day after a session and just chatted for so long, and it was amazing. And I needed to hear that day, because I was needing something to be like, you need to get back into this. And since then, I have been right back on it. And so is she. And we're talking about maybe going to like a wee spiritualist church together or something like that.
Yeah.
How cute would that be?
How cool.
And we've got a wee psychic night on Thursday. So again,
good.
it's all just, all coming
How
back, all the woo-woo.
good.
Love it. So stay
Fun.
tuned for more on the spiritual stuff, because I'm sure over the next few months, things will develop from it.
We can have a wee chat about that in the next girly chat.
Yeah. By the way, see all the episodes that we can just get from this. Like,
Yeah.
we can do a full one in manifesting, which people have asked for, a full one in negative thought patterns, which people have asked for. We are going to get there to really just
There
focus
was a
on
lot of
that.
requests, by the way.
There was a lot.
We've got a lot to get through, guys.
But thank you, because
Yeah.
it just shows you how much people are actually needing this stuff. And just to finish up on talking about the spirituality stuff before we go off on a wee tangent, gratitude journaling. gratitude is just a practice that is spiritual, because it is kind of looking again within, it's looking outwards at other things that you've maybe not thought about. And gratitude can also come from being mindful and really experiencing what we're talking about.
You could even do stuff like just saying what you're grateful for when you're driving.
Oh,
Just
that's
say it
nice.
out loud, rather than, you don't have to get pen and paper out.
Yeah, instead of being like really stressed driving, being like, oh my God, it's going to take me an hour to be here, use it to be.
I'm grateful to have a car. I'm grateful to have this time to myself. You know, I
Gratitude journaling switches your perspective more than anything, doesn't it?
Just use it as like a mental journal sometimes. I think just even saying it out loud, I think can really help. We actually, on gratitude journaling, that's what we used to do in school. When I used to work in a school in Thailand.
Right.
There's a curriculum called GEM, Gratitude, Empathy, Mindfulness.
Love it.
And was started by these two Australian guys, Hugh van Cuylenburg, I'm definitely pronouncing his name wrong, and Martin Heppel. And it's based on Hugh's book called The Resilience Project, building resilience through gratitude, empathy, and mindfulness. And
which is all we've just spoke about.
Guys,
really, all of that comes down to that.
If you've not read this book, it is my favourite book on this planet Earth. Like, it changed the Resilience Project.
Okay.
It is so good. Like, Hugh used to be a primary school teacher,
right,
in Australia, and then him and I think his girlfriend or his wife decided to go travelling for a bit and teach. And they went to, I think the first place they went to was Nepal, in middle of nowhere, to really, really poor little communities where they had nothing, and they were the most grateful children, and they would give so much to Hugh, and his whole mindset just completely switched, and from that moment he started writing everything about his whole travels and his whole story.
Amazing.
And when he got back, he started teaching again. He just thought, I can't do that. Like, it's not the same.
The people need to know.
These kids like need to learn about gratitude, empathy, and mindfulness. So we created a curriculum, and we started teaching that at the school that I worked at in Thailand. We would do stuff like journals, and we had books for the kids and stuff, but sometimes the kids just couldn't. They're really young, so imagine journaling when you're about 6 or 7 years old.
Try to get deep as well.
But they would, by the way, they really would. So that's changing behaviors when you're really young. But sometimes they would really struggle, and you would just say, well, why don't you just talk about it? What are you grateful for? And then they would just go, I'm grateful for this, and
it would be all the wee things that you forget about.
And it's just because they just didn't really want to write it down. Writing it down was too overwhelming. Yeah. So instead, they would just say everything, and they would just go on and on for like 5 minutes. Sometimes you'd be like, okay, right. That's a really effective way to do it. Sometimes
that is
like
lovely.
Sometimes like journaling, for some people, can be an overwhelming thing. So just say it out loud. But yeah, the Resilience Project, fucking read it.
Get it on your list.
I'm actually going to reread it now, because I reread it all the time. It's so good.
Books like that, you just go back to.
It's my favourite book ever.
All the time. And see what you're saying about they went to Nepal, it's a poor community and they're the most grateful people. You always find that, and we both experienced that in Thailand. When I went to Thailand, the people are the nicest people you will ever meet.
They're the happiest, kindest,
most respectful,
most giving, most respectful people.
They don't care about money.
No.
They don't care about status. They don't care. And they all still have that community feel, which is why we really love creating communities here, I suppose. Like, we obviously know how great it is, the power of community. And it is really nice when you find places like that. And it does make you kind of reflect and go, oh, what have I got to be annoyed about? Like, look at what's happened here. And I was telling you about that guy before. We were on his wee boat going down the river on this trip, and there was a wee house up in the embankment, and he was kind of laughing, pointing at it, saying, "Oh, there's my house there." And we're like, "Oh, that's amazing, so handy for your work, you know, you're just out in your wee boat." And he's like, "Oh, I know, that's us, we're nearly finished, we've been rebuilding it the last few years, we lost it in a flood a few years ago." And he was just like giggling and laughing and talking about how great it's been to rebuild that home. Whereas if that happened here, you know, if I get a flood in my bathroom, I'm like, "Oh, Dad, help." Like, and you panic and you think of the worst. Whereas this guy lost his whole house, built it all back up.
Yeah.
And he was so grateful. And just pure happy going to his wee work.
They're so happy.
Oh, we've not had a self-affirmation.
Hold on. Because I have another wee
Do you have a poem?
Because I thought it's part 1, part 2. So.
Right, where's the book? Have you got it? Bear with us as Nelia fetches her diary. Okay, guys.
Okay,
she's back. Let's hear
back.
it. The chimes are on.
Oh God, my hair's all...
A wee affirmation / poem from our very own poet, transformed by Nelia.
I've also just realised that this one is called You.
Fuck off. Is it?
Look.
Guys, that's a sign. That's called You. And if you know me, I am You. And
bipolar.
Who would have known?
Wow.
Wow. Shook. Thank you.
Right.
Go for it, hen.
And now it's time to put yourself first. Let go of the darkness. Switch off the negativity. Focus on your goals. Reach for the stars and the moon. Do what pleases you. Step into the light. You are the master of your own destiny.
Right. See if you can see this journal right now. This was written ages ago when we didn't know any of this stuff, okay?
Yeah.
And that has just literally rounded up every single thing that we've spoken about in this episode. See if you could put everything we've just spoke about into a poem. That would be it.
Because I was like, see, last night I was like, oh, just have I got anything else? And then I was like,
and that was so long ago. That was right. Oh wow,
how good.
There we go,
I just
lassies.
literally realised I was like, oh, I called it You.
My heart.
The universe.
Listen, guys, the universe is talking to us, and we will leave you there with that. So,
so good.
Thanks again for listening.
We love you. Thank you so much.
We will speak to you soon. Let's have an outro.